Yes, everybody, welcome back. Stephen Howson, that's Old Trafford. This is 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United. Let's just say welcome Cristiano Ronaldo home and pick 3 points up, shall we? Because that's what we did, wasn't it? In at number 1 then, Cristiano Ronaldo is back. And he's real. I saw it with my own eyes. He's real. He's still a threat. And he came and proved all those doubters wrong. I mean, yesterday, there was literally the likes of Merson on TV saying, I don't know if he's got the legs to even play in the Premier League. The pace is too much. The intensity is too much. You're too much, Merce. Honestly, you are ridiculous. Ronaldo got off 6 shots yesterday. His movement for the first, being alive to it, was sensational. But the fact that he managed to pull off 6 shots, people were talking about, oh, look how many shots he has in La Liga, look how many shots he has in Serie A, look how many shots he has in international football. The reason he's having so many shots is he creates those chances. He shoots when other people probably wouldn't try and shoot. And he manages to get all of those shots off and he manages to get all of those goals because he's a risk taker and his movement and his abilities on the ball managed to put him in a position to go and score those goals. Like I said, 6 shots yesterday. The technique that was involved on his second one was just frankly ridiculous. The ball's behind him. He controls it to in front of him and then shoots. Meg's the goalkeeper and puts United back in the lead. Honestly, ridiculous. Honestly, ridiculous. He's not got the pace, not got the legs, can't hack the intensity. I don't think the Premier League can hack his intensity. Sensational. Oh, and actually, before we move on from Ronaldo, yesterday the talk that he had to the press afterwards, he was talking about how he's already come in and started setting standards. We saw that he'd had a speech to the players in the hotel the night before the game. I've also kind of heard on the grapevine as well that he's demanding things in training that just you're not really seeing from anybody else. He's a genuine leader. And when he come and spoke to the press after the game, he was saying things along the lines of, if we want to win the Premier League, if we want to win the Champions League, here's what we need to do. We've got to be mature. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. That's a person that has come here to deliver those goals. And he actually might be the thing that makes the difference to actually go and deliver those sorts of trophies to Manchester United. We've won everything else since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. We've won the Europa League, we've won the League Cup, we've won a Charity Shield, and we've won an FA Cup. But the big 2 have evaded us. Cristiano Ronaldo, the way he was talking in that post-match press conference yesterday, seems to me like he's here to deliver those things. In at number 2 then, patience. We needed to have patience. Newcastle came with 2 banks of 5. They were looking to only kind of break with Alan Saint-Maxim. They didn't really come to play football and they come to try and be party poopers. Now luckily we had the patience and we had the quality to be able to get the job done, but it did require an enormous amount of patience. Low blocks work. Low blocks are effective. And you just need a little bit of patience and a little bit of quality to be able to break those down. Now, the one criticism I could have had of United's tactics in that game was I thought it was crying out for someone with a bit more width. Newcastle, in a back 5 or a back 3, with the full-backs dropped all the way back, so it's a back 5. What you're allowed to do in those circumstances, you're allowed to let your full-backs to go out to the wide areas to engage whoever's in that wide area for the attacking team. You can do that because you've probably got your 6s and you've got your entire back 4 still in the box to deal with any crossing threat. So you can go out there and try and stop the cross. Newcastle narrowed in so tight that they were within the entire width of the 18-yard box, which meant that there was no one pulling defenders out of the way. And that was a criticism from United, is Sancho and Shaw weren't really doing it and crossing from the wide area on the left and on the right-hand side. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's just not going to cross. And when Greenwood comes in, he's coming in to try and shoot for himself. So the one thing that I think United could have changed and perhaps even should have changed at half-time was bring on someone like Delo, someone who's going to knock the ball out of their feet and deliver a first-time cross. Because there's nothing harder than trying to break down a defence which is set and looking at you. Cross it then. I'm waiting. That's one of the hardest things in football, is breaking down a static attack. One of the reasons that you like teams to play quickly, one of the teams that you like them to constantly be moving forward, is that they can get in behind a defence. If the defence and the attack are both running towards a ball, there's a 50-50 chance they can get it. When the defence is set and they can turn around and observe the attackers that are coming in and the guy that's about to throw the ball in, that's when it's extremely difficult. And I thought United didn't really do well against that yesterday. Now, the good thing is, young boys in the week are going to be nowhere near as difficult, and also most of the Premier League aren't going to be anywhere near as reluctant to hold possession. Newcastle had the second lowest possession in the Prem last year with 38 point something percent. I've not even seen what it was for yesterday's game, but it wouldn't shock me if it was below 30%. It was ridiculous. United just dominated the ball in every sense of the word. So it's not going to be that hard. We managed to evade what could have been a circus of everyone just welcoming Ronaldo home and forgetting the fact that we were here to get 3 points, but we didn't, and we kept our patience. So happy days. In number 3 then, Paul Pogba. 7 assists in 4 games. Absolutely ridiculous. He's now streaking ahead in terms of how many assists he's got for us this year. And he also had a very mature game, I thought, yesterday. He had 103 completed passes out of 112. And it looked like he was doing what we wanted him to do in terms of being the guy that can control the ball, keep a bit of momentum going, keep the tempo up, but also switch it out. He's got the ability to hit someone on the pitch wherever they are. He's got that sort of ability on the ball. Now, he's a bit fortunate that he created so many chances on the opening day, but he's continued to create chances in every single match since then. He's playing out of his skin at the moment, and he needs to be accommodated into a team. I still don't think United's midfield is perfect, but it's a lot worse if Paul Pogba doesn't line up for us. And you've got to think now, United are cruising currently. If we can start well in the Champions League as well, that was the time to sit down with Paul Pogba's agent, Raiola, and Paul Pogba himself and go, listen, mate, where are you going? There might be some sort of a dream to play for Real Madrid, but is this the Real Madrid that you dreamed of playing? It's not the one that Varane and Ronaldo are playing for. They're here. So why do you want to leave? Paul Pogba can't consider his time at United a success unless he manages to pull out some trophies. And we all know the trophies we're talking about, the 2 that have evaded us. If he can win the Premier League here or the Champions League here, then it's a resounding success for him. He's been a good player. He's been pretty consistent, even though people don't want to admit it. They're like Graham Souness, like he pulls out how many assists on the opening day, and Graham Souness is like, well, I just expect that, even though it was record-breaking. As everyone's been saying, stop listening to Graham Souness. But this is the expectation level that gets put on that guy, and it's absolutely ridiculous. He's killing the assist charts at the moment. He's playing fantastic. Long may it rain. Number 4. Not the best showing from Sancho and Greenwood. Sancho and Greenwood, I thought yesterday would have been quite good options. I also kind of expected them, as I mentioned earlier, to start significantly wider and maybe move in, maybe draw out the Newcastle defence. But both of their positions was quite narrow. I think because their starting positions was quite narrow, they found it difficult to run into space. Now, as an example, let me throw Alan St. Maxim at you. Yesterday, St. Maxim ripped up. His dribbles looked sensational. He looked like a live wire, I think is the only word I could use to describe him. And as a contrast, Sancho and Greenwood, they didn't look like they could dribble anywhere near as good. Now, for me, they're all probably on a par when it comes to dribbling. They're slightly different in the way they dribble, but they're all probably as proficient at dribbling. But that's not the case, and this is where the opposition comes into this. If United was playing into so much space, like let's say the next time we go to the Etihad, we're going to have so much room to dribble into behind that Manchester City defence. One of our players is going to look like St. Maxim looked yesterday for Newcastle, because it's just the areas you're able to dribble in. When you're playing against a team that doesn't want to leave the 18-yard box, there's nowhere for you to dribble into. There's no space behind them. There's no one that's going to come to you 1v1. So it's very, very difficult to be able to create movement. And that's why the 4th goal, Jesse Lingard's goal, was so good, because there was feints, there was dummies, there was opposite movements. And that's the kind of thing that United probably lacked a little bit for the first 80 or so minutes. That's where, when we're playing against teams that are going to completely park the bus against us, you really have to step up that off-the-ball movement. And fair play to Tony Marshall and Jesse Lingard for the movements off the ball like they did yesterday, because that was absolutely superb. But it wasn't the best game from Sancho and from Greenwood. But the point I'm trying to make is, let's not judge them yet. Mason Greenwood's in a seriously hot streak of form. He's being extremely effective in terms of his goal-getting. I thought his decision-making left a lot to be desired yesterday, and particularly not in our attacking third. He's an attacking player, so you would expect him to have some deficiencies when it comes to elite decision-making in our third. But it was a few mistakes that could have cost us yesterday that he made. I'm sure he'll fix them, and like I'm saying, let's not judge him yet. But we're not ignoring it either. And Jadon Sancho, it just doesn't look like he's hit the ground running at all yet at United. And I was thinking maybe it'd be a real benefit to him, but for having Ronaldo and Varane and all the headlines be about them rather than be about him. But it's just not quite there for him. Now, we know he's an elite player. We know he's going to eventually come good. And maybe it requires us to be playing against teams that are going to be more open for him. Like, I think if he'd have started against Leeds and he'd have been match fit, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation because we'd be going, well, actually, he was like man of the match against Leeds. He'll come good. And I think Tuesday night might be the time that you see him play a full 90 and also show us what he's about, because it's a nice, I'm not going to say easy because it's the Champions League, but it's a straightforward tie, isn't it? And finally then, are we getting ahead of ourselves? Well, we might be, and you can just deal with it. How about that? United at the top of the league. Now, there's 34 matches left to go. But what Manchester United have done is they've transformed, or what Solskjaer has done, he's transformed the side. When I look around now and I hear the things like Cristiano Ronaldo said about if this team wants to win the Premier League and the Champions League, we have to be mature. When I hear about him going into training and saying, yeah, that was cool, the levels are going up. They'll go up. Believe me, those levels will go up on the back of him. Yesterday I was reading about something that he did at Real Madrid. I think it was a kitman or a physio at Real Madrid was saying they got back at 3 a.m. to the Real Madrid training ground after a Champions League away tie. Everyone starts jumping in their sports cars and getting off. Ronaldo's dragging Ramos and Marcelo into the training ground. And he said, what are you doing? And he said, we're having an ice bath. This is how you recover. So you question why Ronaldo's still going and still elite at 36 years of age. It's those little details like that. And it's not just what he's doing for himself. He's literally grabbing other people and taking them along with him and forcing them to be better. Now, if you've got some impressionable youngsters, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood, even the likes of Luke Shaw and other people in the squad that can learn a hell of a lot from him, they will learn from him. He's going to lift the standards of everybody. Everyone's going to start expecting more and more and more. United are top of the league. I'd rather be top of the league after 4 than bottom of the league after 4. So you can only really be where we are after as many games. The task now is to stay there, because I think this United team on its day can go to any club in the country and beat them, home and away. It's whether or not we've got that consistency, and that's what we're about to find out over the next 9 months. I'll tell you what, I cannot wait. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.